The FA Cup, one of football's most valued prizes, and this year they're playing for it for the 100th year. Well, who'll take it at Wembley in May? Well, maybe tonight we shall have one or two clues. Good evening to you, and indeed on the programme we have three traditional and rousing FA Cup fifth-round ties, where the main feature is a storming match between Southampton and Everton.
And Charlie George, cross from the byline, Keegan almost got it in there. Shannon had a shot charged down. Holmes, blasting one just wide of the post.
Then globe-trotting Nottingham Forest just back from Japan to face Bristol City, a day when Brian Clough wondered if his biggest gamble in football would backfire. And can third division Charlton keep out the power of favourites Ipswich?
Muren chipping one forward. Mariner. Oh, that's a good save.
And the latest news from the Cup and the League, starting with the headlines now from Jim Rosenthal.
Third Division Exeter are still alive after a very late equaliser at Newcastle. Peterborough's Cup dreams are over. Manchester City beat them and a flu bug. Tottenham stay right on course for Wembley, while in the League West Ham overwhelmed Chelsea and take another step towards the First Division.
Well, our first Cup tie tonight is Southampton against Everton on a day when the Dell was packed and when celebrations were in order for one player in particular.
Kevin Keegan is 30 today, but I'm sure he's celebrating more the fact that he's back to full fitness for Southampton and in the last 7 games has scored 5 times. But he's still got some ground to make up on young Steve Moran. The scoring sensation at the Dell this season, 15 to his credit, and he's scored in both Cup rounds so far. Well, here's the Southampton side, and the only problem for manager Laurie McMenemy today was deciding whether Graham Baker, who's had a thigh strain, will be fit to take his place in the midfield. Well, he felt he couldn't risk Graham, so Malcolm Waldron comes into the defence and Nick Holmes moves up to the midfield where he spent most of his career. Meanwhile, Everton's Gordon Lee has been able to recall goalkeeper Jim McDonough after an absence of 3 games through injury, and full-back John Gidman, who's missed the last 4 because of a calf strain. Certainly the Cup's meant hard work for Everton. Already they've had to beat Arsenal and Liverpool and now face arguably the toughest test of the 5th round. But in Imre Varadi, they have a striker capable of scoring important goals, as he showed against Liverpool. And you get the feeling that Mike Lyons, at the centre of their defence, is just the sort of man who thrives on this sort of challenge. Manager of the month, Southampton manager Laurie McMenemy, and I have to tell you that superstition's got the better of him. He's worn the same suit, shirt and tie during Southampton's unbeaten run of 13 games. The referee today is Pat Partridge of Cockfield in County Durham, 16 years on the Football League list, but it's his first time here at the Dell, and it could well be his last as well, because this is his last year as a referee. And it's Everton who kick off in the plain dark shirts of blue and white shorts, attacking the goal to our right. Southampton in their red and white stripes and black shorts. Everton, who, as I say, have beaten Arsenal and Liverpool, but they're away. They were both at Goodison Park. Their away record has not been that impressive. They've not won away since November, and indeed they've only won 3 of their last 12 games. Charlie George caught offside. Southampton, meanwhile, unbeaten in their last 13, and in that time they've been scoring at a phenomenal rate, 28 goals in their last 9 games. And the Dell here, where the atmosphere is absolutely tremendous, is reputed amongst footballers everywhere as a difficult place to come and play. Well, here's Jim McDonough back in action. Williams. Charlie George handled unfairly by Lyons. Southampton's free kick. Keegan with it. Well, that's a sure sign that he won't take it. And so it's Chris Nicholl. Moran nodding it in there, and it might come for Charlie George. A poke and a good save by McDonough. Good finishing by Charlie George though, because the time certainly wasn't there for him, but he got a shot of power with a minimum of backlift. Williams was in on Varadi, and Watson gets it back to Wells. Charlie George with a header. Shannon's right in there. Ratcliffe and Hartford and Bailey between them getting it away. And Williams went in very hard and late on Bailey there. That was a pretty unpleasant piece of play by Steve Williams, and the referee, in my view, quite rightly, is cautioning the Southampton number 4. He's such a talented player, Steve Williams, but he was out of order there. Well, that was the incident. And it's a free kick for Everton. Waldron going for this one with Verardi. It's Verardi now challenged by Keegan. Eastoe playing it wide here again for Trevor Ross. Right, under a bit of pressure from Moran. Eastoe. Hartford. There's Nicol. Wide here for Golak. And Williams in a very forward position again. Hartford right there with him. And a throw to Everton. A winner in the air by Watson. Golak getting it across. It's Lyons, the last-ditch man there for Everton. And a free kick. It's only for the foul on Keegan. So it's Southampton's kick, some 10 yards outside the penalty area. Waldron and Keegan are over it. And the Wall standing about 4 yards off the ball at the moment. Now Pat Partridge has got them back, well, at least to something like 6 or 7 yards. And hammered and deflected over. Tremendous shot by Waldron. And the deflection could have caused great embarrassment there. Just flicked up and over, we saw, by Ratcliffe. So Southampton's corner. Nicol and Watson are up, the big men from the back. And Waldron as well right in there, as you could see. And it's his backward header. Watson right in there, a backward header by him, and hooked away in the end by Billy Wright. And now a break for Everton, and 3 against 1 as O'Keefe plays it in for Ratcliffe. And great play there by Nick Holmes. Tremendous piece of defence by Holmes. People tend to underrate him, but Laurie McMenemy never does. And a 3 against 1 situation was suddenly balanced up by some good defensive play by Holmes. But a corner for Everton, which O'Keefe will take. Good ball played in by O'Keefe, in fact. And there's a corner coming in. Wells fisting it away and not getting much ground on it, and was impeded as he did so unfairly. A free kick to Southampton. Pat Partridge having a word with Peter Eastoe, explaining that decision. And the atmosphere still very high and excited indeed. A long kick from Wells. Keegan and Charlie George. Cross from the byline. Keegan almost got it in there. Shannon had a shot charged down. Holmes blasting one just wide of the post. The closest Southampton have been to a goal, or anybody for that matter, today. And Holmes in the end no more than a foot wide. But it was Shannon who looked as though he might be on target with a shot that was charged down. There it was there. And it rebounded to Nick Holmes. And his was wide of the target. And on the Southampton bench, John Mortimer looked as though he wants a little bit more movement right through the side. But he's getting movement now. It's Williams playing it on for Holmes, and they're queuing up at the far post there, and Bailey got in well for Everton to turn that behind for the corner. Pat on the back from his goalkeeper, and a corner for Southampton. Which Keegan will take. Trevor Ross right back there for Everton as well. Moran's going towards the near post. Moran again, knocking it in there, and Nicol almost got it in there, off Charlie George. No, disallowed. Disallowed. And, well, Pat Partridge is indicating, I think, that Charlie George knocked it in with his hand. Well, that really was a controversial moment. Charlie obviously felt not, and I'm not sure that we'll see it so clearly from this angle. But Nicol had a go there, and the ball is cleared, and yes, it looked there very much as though it was a handball. Eastoe played inside for O'Keefe, could be a chance here for Everton. And in the end it's nothing, but it's a corner. Suddenly O'Keefe was in behind Golak, and he had some people up as well, but it's a corner then which O'Keefe is going to take, and they've got Lyons up. Eastoe's in the 6-yard area. Gidman's coming up also. But Mick Lyons, there's Varady in there. O'Keefe playing it wide. Hartford had made that break out to the edge of the penalty area. There's the cross coming in. Mick Lyons with a header, and just wide. Very good corner indeed that for Everton, and it was look at the annoyance on Mick Lyons' face, and indeed it was a clear header, and he didn't make the most of it. Made in fact for Everton by Asa Hartford, and then the cross came in. Lyons with the header, a yard wide. Nice little touch there by Eastoe, if in fact it was a touch, but it's still in play. And now here's Williams, Varady going for it as well, Williams winning it. An Everton player down on the ground, and Southampton in full flight at the moment with Steve Moran. Being pushed wide there by Bailey, might get another chance. It's Ratcliffe, the Everton player, who's injured, and he's hobbled to his feet again as Southampton get the throw. Holmes with it. Some space here for Williams, maybe. Certainly some space here for Charlie George. Hit in low, and McDonough down again well. Not too happy with one or two of his defenders. Charlie George rifling that right foot shot in, just clipped off the defender, but McDonough, look at that, well behind it. And Everton have marked tightly and well, and have played with a great deal of discipline, and in the first half at any rate have taken a lot of the sting out of Southampton, and that sting will have to be replaced at half-time by Laurie McMenemy. And Charlie George had the ball in the net, but the slow motion suggesting, I thought quite clearly, that it was handled in. And so in this cup tie, full of commitment, but as yet not quite reaching the levels of skill that we'd hoped, a half-time score at the Dell, which reads Southampton 0, Everton 0. And we'll be back with the second half. So Southampton get us away now, and they attack the goal on our right. 0-0. George, kicked wide there for Moran. And he got a good cross in too. Charlie George hit first time. The sort of ball that if it screams into the top of the net, well, it's a golden goal. And on that occasion, it's for Everton nothing more serious than a goal kick. Moran, in fact, got a very good cross in here for Southampton under a lot of pressure, and Charlie George decided to hit that first time. O'Keefe playing it on here for... Oh, O'Keefe going in there. Golak. Well, he snapped at Golak's heels, and the Yugoslav wasn't at all happy with that. There are one or two little moments happening off the ball, and it's going to need the utmost vigilance now of referee Pat Partridge. But here's Williams. That was a handball, surely, yes. It's given, and in the meantime, Mick Lyons is down injured. Intended by Kevin Keegan for the moment. And Golak and O'Keefe explaining their respective positions to the referee. O'Keefe showing us a scrape on his thigh, which I suppose he claims Golak put there, which is why he'd reacted against the Southampton fullback a moment ago. But a free kick then to Southampton. Waldron, Charlie George and Steve Williams behind it. We've already seen how powerfully Waldron can hit these free kicks. And he's going to have another bash at it now. Straight through the wall, and McDonough did well and got to it before Keegan. What a mighty blow that was from the dead ball. Williams runs over it. Wide of the wall, and the keeper got it at the second attempt before Keegan got there. And there's going to be a substitution, with Trevor Hibbert coming on, and it's Steve Moran, I think, is coming off. So Steve Moran off and Trevor Hibbert on. Williams and George, played in by Williams first time. It was Kidman who got that away. Golak. Williams playing it in again towards Shannon. Keegan trying to get in there. Williams then trying to squirm his way clear, but is brought down, and it's another Southampton free kick. The keeper's rushed out to pass on some message to John Bailey about the formation of the wall. And I'm wondering, no, it's not another blockbuster from Waldron this time. Keegan is over it. Played there for Williams, and nodded there, and pushed away! Dave Watson almost getting an unexpected goal there. And that wasn't the way Everton, or rather that Southampton planned it. But as this corner is about to be taken, and Watson's header is just wide. Southampton's throw. Shannon. Keegan pushed down there by Ratcliffe. It hasn't as yet been one of Southampton's better performances, but it has so far been a really sterling performance by Everton. Shannon, though, with the free kick for Southampton. Nicol tried to get in there. Waldron is in there, and in the end it was Eastoe who hooked it away. George, Williams to the byline, and that might have gone anywhere. And this still might go anywhere. Chris Nicol with a shot wide of the goal. Well, that's a little hiccup in the Everton defence. That's the sort of thing that can always happen in a cup tie when the tension is high as it is at the moment. But in the end, it came here for Chris Nicol, and he planted it so wide. Watson with the header. Ratcliffe getting it away. Here's George. Floated again towards Holmes, but Keegan got that one. Hibbert with his shot. Wide of the goal. Not much to spare, though. Prodigious jump there by Keegan, which really opened it up. But Hibbert's shot in the end, always going wide. counter-attack for Everton. Verratti, great save by Wells. Look at those two Everton players embracing each other. Easto and Verratti there. Tremendous understanding and a great piece of goalkeeping there by Peter Wells, particularly when you remember how little Wells has had to do for so long. Well, Everton really seemed so close to stealing the whole thing there with that shot from Verratti, and might well do even now. Hartford, no they won't. Hartford let it run away from him, and Southampton get a goal kick. Well, you have to hand it to Peter Wells for that piece of goalkeeping. Southampton's throw, Everton almost there. It's been a really fine team performance by them today. No side ever relishes coming to the Dell for a cup tie, least of all when Southampton are in the form they've been in the past few weeks. But Everton have matched fire with fire, and at the moment, no more than a minute and a half, I would think, away from at least getting a replay, unless Southampton can find something now. It's Holmes, the cross coming in, Everton defenders lining up to get it away. Verratti almost had it away, and now they have got it away, as only Hibbert is back. We're into injury time at the end of the game now, and I would think Pat Partridge will add a little on, and Wells has got to belt this ball forward now. Golak, no. Well, Everton more and more are becoming a team to reckon on in the FA Cup, having disposed of Arsenal and of Liverpool in previous rounds. Beaten in the semi-final, of course, last year by West Ham, and now a matter of a few seconds away from getting a very worthy draw indeed, as Gidman belts that ball into touch again. Another look at the watch from Pat Partridge, and Everton have got themselves a replay at Goodison Park on Tuesday night. Mick Lyons coming forward to congratulate Peter Easto, and they're going in fact towards the Everton fans to congratulate them, and certainly the Everton fans have given their team tremendous support, and how they've deserved it. And had it not been for a miraculous save by Peter Wells in the last 5 minutes, then Everton would have gone away with a win, with a goal by Verratti. But the save was made, and the game has to be played again on Tuesday. Final score then at Southampton, it's Southampton 0, Everton 0.
It's what you call a typical cup tie, that one. Replay, as I say, at Goodison Park on Tuesday. And although Southampton fans might be a little disappointed that their team didn't make that home advantage pay, I've no doubt in my mind that there's still a lot of football left in that tie yet. For one thing, Graham Baker, who missed the game today with injury, could well be fit for Tuesday, although Steve McMahon will also be available for Everton now after suspension. The Southampton manager, Laurie McMenemy, said we had no chance of doing anything on the ball as there was always an Everton player ready to challenge. I agree with Laurie. To me, that was typified by the way that John Gidman showed great concentration and discipline in marking Kevin Keegan hard for 90 minutes. And that's not John's natural game, but he did it superbly. And incidentally, that's the first time Southampton have failed to score at the Dell this season, another tribute to Everton's defence. Well, today, Ipswich were at home to 3rd Division Charlton. That really was a mammoth task for Charlton at Portman Road, where the game was covered by Anglia Television, the commentators Jerry Harrison with Ipswich in the dark shirts.
Here comes McCall. Gates wide here. Shaw with him. Chance from here and the chip went up. Mariner getting up there. And Mariner to turn here. Deflected away. They're getting into the Charlton penalty area comparatively easily. Osman is up there, Butcher too. And it comes to Brazil. Oh, poor Mariner. with a perfect chance there when it gone over the top of Kevin Beattie. Nicely chipped up by Alan Brazil. Beattie can't get it first, but Mariner can. Unchallenged, but over. Unnecessary, that one. And a free kick given, quickly taken by Warman to Walsh. Good run by Walsh and a good pass to Robinson. Hails his far post, Walsh near post. And too deep for either of them. Well, he got free there, and that was very good work by Paul Walsh. And indeed by Walker to get him there. Two Charlton players come for it, neither of them get it clean in. It's Mariner to pick up here. Brazil to Walk, battering their way through. Brazil, Tyson on the right, cut out by Warman. It's still Ipswich, Paul Mariner. Muren bypassing two lunging tackles superbly. And Muren still going. Is it too strong for Gates? Well, he keeps it in, but Muren did some super work there. But the final pass was too strong. And more players forward Ipswich at the moment, but Charlton are challenging well. Shaw, only down to Muren though. Trying to chip. Oh, that wasn't very far away. Well, in training during the week, goalkeeper Nicky Johns was put up against the barrage, and a lot of them were from some distance, like this one. And he had this one covered, did he? Just about. Brazil wide out there. Over goes Shaw. Walker's in the middle. So too is Tyson here. Walker, good leap. And it's coming to Mariner. Meanwhile, play held up while Les Berry gets attention after that deflection. Let's see, in fact, how Berry was hurt there. The jump and the clash of heads there as the ball is pushed out to Mariner, and by then Berry is down and out. Despite the red stuff, he's back in the fray. There's Muren to Tyson. Osmond coming on the right-hand side. Forward to Paul Mariner. The referee's whistle goes for that challenge, and too difficult to understand why. Walk and Butcher up there with Mariner for the long ball forward. Butcher on a run. Muren chipping one forward. Mariner. Oh, that's a good save. The most difficult of saves there, because there wasn't so much power in that header, but there was a lot of spin and accuracy, and he really had to stretch his 6'2" to get it. In goes Peter Shaw. Bit of room for Gates here as he gets it wide to Tyson. A return. Gates trying one. Good catch. And here's Walk. The breakthrough at last. It's taken a long, long time to come, and indeed Nicky Johns will curse himself for letting this one go. He got to it, he let it go, and then Walk from a distance. He's got to tuck it into the corner. He does it so well. In for Mariner. Bit of room here, dangerously so. Gates, and again it's gone begging. Brazil came in on that one. Well, a good drive. Nicky Johns most of the time would hold these. Brazil coming in hard there, just wide. Good challenge by Osman. Brazil here needs support though. He's got it on the left and the right. Chooses to go alone and now finds Mariner. Well, there were three players for the pullback. Brazil into his path. Looks as if he's going to go down to the line, but then hits one instead. And that's a powerful ball forward. Mariner might get this one. Despite the fact that he was being pulled back, he held off the challenge and he tucks it in. Well, just surely at the time when he must have been regretting that shot that he missed before. A wonderful ball forward from Butcher. A rugby attempted challenge from Naylor, but Mariner beats both goalkeeper and the challenge.
2-0 to Ipswich after a great fight there by Charlton. The third division team by no means disgraced, but bad news for them tonight. Their defender Les Berry, who manager Mike Bailey says has had an outstanding season, went to hospital to have his broken nose reset. We saw that injury and the blood during the game. And Les is now doubtful for Tuesday's game at Burnley, as is skipper Dick Tideman, who's got a twisted ankle. So Charlton's FA Cup dreams are over, but another third division side are still in with a shout, as we come to the news now with Jim.
Yes, that's absolutely right, Brown. We must pay credit to Exeter City, probably still on their way home now from Newcastle, but delighted with a 1-1 draw. That means a replay on Wednesday. Don't forget, Leicester City have already gone out down there in Devon. The man who earned Exeter a second chance was centre-half Lee Roberts. There he is on the extreme left. He scored with 4 minutes to go. The scene captured by that Sunday Mirror picture. It looked then as though Alan Shoulder had put Newcastle into the last 8. But Peterborough go out, beaten 1-0 by Manchester City, described tonight by the Peterborough manager Peter Morris as the luckiest team left in the competition. Tommy Booth scored that vital goal just before half-time, but City were handicapped by a flu bug. It affected several players and forced manager John Bond to miss the match. No joy for Barnsley either. They battled bravely as well after conceding 2 early goals at Middlesbrough, but the Borough won 2-1, and this tie at Ayresome Park attracted the biggest cup crowd of the day, more than 37,000. Tottenham are now the only London survivors. Spurs beat Coventry 3-1. Glenn Hoddle was fit enough to play and featured prominently in one of the goals. Dealers, Archibald and Houghton were the Spurs scorers, but have some sympathy for Coventry City, knocked out of 2 competitions in 4 days. The Wolves substitute Norman Bell was the inspiration behind their 3-1 victory over Wrexham. Bell scored twice in 3 minutes after Wolves had trailed to a Steve Fox goal at half-time. John Richards made it absolutely safe for Wolves in the last minute. In the league, there was crowd trouble at Upton Park before the West Ham-Chelsea match, but West Ham had no trouble at all with Chelsea. The Hammers won 4-0. Trevor Brookings scored 2 more goals, and that puts them 8 points clear at the top of the second division. Notts County on 37 points after the 1-1 draw at Queen's Park Rangers. The Rangers goalkeeper John Burridge to blame for that county goal. And then Chelsea, but they're 10 points behind the leaders. Look at that. Followed by Blackburn and Derby, both on 34. Blackburn beat Derby 1-0 today. Grimsby right up there. That might surprise some of you. They beat Orient 2-0. And sadly, Steve Parsons, who's had such a fine season in the Orient midfield, he broke his leg after falling on the icy ground. And Stan Bowles was in trouble as well. At the end of the match, he threw a bucket of water at spectators. Unfortunately for Stan, he also splashed a policeman, but after discussions, no charges will be pressed. I've got one result for you tonight. In the 4th Division, Torquay beat Rochdale by 2-0. Keith Bowker and a 25-yarder from Bruce Rioch. Brian.
Well, coming up next, Nottingham Forest, just back from Tokyo, take on Bristol City in another rip-roaring cup tie. Welcome back to this special FA Cup edition of the Big Match. And our third cup tie tonight is focused strongly once again, yes, on Brian Clough. Well, who else would have taken his side across the world to Tokyo for a World Club Championship match in the same week as an FA Cup tie against Bristol City? Forest assistant manager Peter Taylor described it as Clough's biggest gamble ever in football. Exhaustion, jet lag, well, nobody knew quite what to expect, and that's why ATV's cameras were there with commentator Hugh Johns and with Trevor Francis in form again.
This is one of 8 men in this Forest side who played in Tokyo on Wednesday, and everyone is wondering what that incredible 16,000 miles round trip will have done to their legs. As insurance, youngsters Mills, Gunn and Walsh were left behind, so they'll be fresh and sharp for certain. Bristol City have a couple of youngsters in their side as well. Injury to solid centre-half Dave Rogers, a broken leg, and suspension for experienced fullback Alan Hay brings a cup debut for 18-years-old Alan Nichols and 20-years-old Paul Stevens, and they have just 3 appearances between them. Referee Ken Walmsley of Blackpool gets us away, and because of the colour clash, Bristol City lose their normal red shirts this afternoon. They're playing white jerseys, black shorts. Stuart Gray's header. Sweeney. Anderson claiming that to be his, and it wasn't. Touch from Whitehead, good one. Mabbott. Pritchard.
Mills struggling to get back at Pritchard. Makes the space for the cross, which is charged down by Anderson, and he looked around, he didn't know where the ball had gone. Pritchard for Sweeney. Nichols. A little bit casual then, with the challenge of Wallace coming to him. Man. Tainton, a good run. Fine run. Mabbott getting into the box, and Burns put that away as Mabbott was in behind him. What a fine run that was, though, by Trevor Tainton. So, first corner of the game, and it goes to Bristol City. Whitehead getting that one up. An awkward punch by Shilton. Pritchard should have done better. Really ought to have banged that one on target, but he mishit the shot entirely. Wallace ready to run forward if the ball ridges him. Here's Robertson. Stuart Gray. That's not a bad ball for Anderson. Gap opening up on the right side for Mills. Mills fighting to get the ball back again. Nicholl was there, Pritchard, and Anderson rubs him. Wallace. A touch for Anderson. Goal kick. But Anderson was in behind Bristol City then. Anderson fighting, and this was intelligent of Wallace, the way closed up and the back heel. Saw Pop Robson do that last week and score a goal. This week Anderson's in and hits the side of the post. Testing time for the number 6, Alan Nichols, 18 years old, just last Tuesday. This is only the second game of his life in the first team. Mills crosses that in. That was cool enough by young Alan Nichols. He didn't quite know who was around him. The goalkeeper didn't shout early enough, so he puts it away safely for the corner. It's the third corner of the game for Forest. This one hit low for Anderson. Might have done better if he'd clattered it first time. Bristol City come out through Jimmy Mann. Ball off to Whitehead. Tainton racing through the middle. Whitehead taking them on. The cross in. It's a good one. Mabbott made the space for the goal. Yes! And didn't he take that well? Kevin Mabbott, it's Bristol City 1-0. Well, it seems hardly necessary to show that in slow motion because it was slow motion. Wonderful run here, though, by Whitehead. And look at the amount of time that Mabbott had on that far stick. Nobody was marking him. He gets away from both Shilton and from Walsh, picks his spot and knocks it into the corner. Defeat by Nacional of Uruguay in Tokyo on Wednesday morning. And now some 60 hours later, they're 1-0 down at home here to Bristol City, and their fans are really chanting. Stuart Gray down to Anderson. Bristol City come right out, and Mills has beaten the offside trap and goes in hard and fast. Good looking, and Wallace was given offside anyway. So the fact that Ian Wallace missed the goal doesn't really matter because the linesman's flag had pinned him offside, which perhaps eases his conscience a bit because he should have put that ball in the net. Mills the ball in. Wallace offside. Releases Walsh. Robertson waiting for a pass, and it goes the other way for Mills, and it's a better ball anyway. Here comes Mills. He's got to drive one. Well, the way the ball was running for him, he had to drive it himself. He had to take charge of the situation. What a good ball that was from Walsh. Releasing Mills on the far side. He heads it forward. It's running away from him. He can't really cross it there. He's got to whack it just past the right-hand post. Mills infield for Burns. And Forest are pushing up everybody at the moment. They've just left 2 at the back. If this breaks down, they could be in trouble. It's Robertson at the moment, though. Walsh. made the angle for the shot, and there was an offside flag up. In any case, both Burns and Wallace were forward. That's the first time Muller's had to do anything. It really wouldn't have mattered if this ball had in fact gone past Muller, because you'll see the goalkeeper did his job well, and there are two men there, both Wallace and Burns, who were caught offside. Frank Gray. Francis is in the clear. He called for it and he got it. Looks good. Held by Muller, and he got a boot then as Stuart Gray went in to follow up. That was a fine ball though that picked up Trevor Francis right in the clear for once, and he very nearly squeezed it past Muller. Muller holds it, and then number 4, Stuart Gray, goes in with his boot. The goalkeeper's all right though. Stuart Gray for Walsh. It'll come for Frank Gray. Francis forcing his way through and couldn't quite make it. Looked up and thought he might have had a penalty then. Ken Burns. Oof, Anderson might have got a bang on the head then. Wallace off to Mills. And again, Forrest surged down from the wings. That looks good for Wallace. And the final challenge from little Paul Stevens was enough to stop Wallace breaking a long scoreless run. Mills then. The ball tucked in for Wallace, but before he could really get the shot in, there's Stevens, just enough to put him off. Pritchard. And Stuart Gray tries to get Forrest forward again with Francis. And the way closes up through Tainton and then Marshall. Well, it's backs to the wall stuff by Bristol City. But at the moment it's worked off. That's a penalty. Julian Marshall didn't see that Colin Walsh was inside him. He had his eye on the ball, he didn't know the player was there. But he certainly smeared him down. Frank Gray hoisting that up. Well, there it is, Marshall, this unlucky lad, put through his own goal recently. And now it's John Robertson, penalty king, 4 already this season, against Jan Muller for 1-1. And it's there. That incidentally the 40th penalty in the whole career of John Robertson, and he takes it so sweetly, inches inside the left-hand post. 1-1. So Forrest from the penalty spot, back in the game. It's a question now of whether they can find the winner in the 6 minutes left. Or whether, in fact, a replay has to go down to Ashton Gate. That's a foul by Ken Burns on Clive Whitehead. Bristol City, who defended in such numbers and with such very, very good organisation. Finally, it was a penalty that rocks them. Stevens, low free kick to Whitehead. Comes Tainton. Aitken. Pritchard starting a diagonal run to the right, but Aitken has to play it back. Nichols, a long one forward. Gunn gets a boot to it, and Peter Shilton is there. Forest fans wondering now whether their side can find a winner. Good head as Walsh getting it forward. Now the throw-in taken too far down the line. Not taken again from the same spot. Robertson there. Frank Gray. The inviting ball across to Mills. They have given Mills an awful lot of room in this second half. And a chance for Wallace is going to win the match for Forest. Ian Wallace hasn't scored in his last 11 games, and with 2 minutes to go, surely Ian Wallace has put Forest into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. They've constantly been giving Mills so much room on this right-hand side. Now, when he comes in with it, there's a great deal of scrambling. A lot of people got their foot to the ball, and Wallace made sure with the last one. Touch on from Mabbott. Whitehead couldn't quite get there. Walsh, and again it goes out to Mills, but it's all over. So, Ian Wallace, the man who has taken Nottingham Forest through to the 6th round of the Cup.
So the FA Cup has produced another day of excitement, never better illustrated than in the 3 games that we've been able to bring you tonight. And with all 3 ties lurching one way and then the other, the final drama in each of them was left to the closing minutes. It was right at the end that Peter Wells saved Southampton.
And now Eastoe. Is it going to be a winning counter-attack for Everton? Varady, great save by Wells.
It was right at the end that Ipswich finally got well clear of Charlton.
Ball forward, Mariner might get this one.
It was right at the end that Nottingham Forest finally spared Mr. Clough's blushes.
And the chance for Wallace is going to win the match for Forest. Ian Wallace